Judge Juan Merchant continuing the jury selection process in the bogus hush money case against the former President Donald Trump. And so far, more than half of the 96 potential jurors summoned to the courtroom, well, they said they couldn't be fair and impartial in a case involving Donald Trump. I have a feeling many more might just be lying. Based on the deep blue demographics of Manhattan, Trump will have to remain president at the trial, which could take 8 weeks. And while still campaigning in what many are referring to as the most important election of our lives, maybe ever in this country. Join me to discuss it, senior advisor to Donald Trump and his 2024 campaign, Lynne Patton. Lynne, nice to see you again.
Always great to be here, Steve. Thanks for having me.
So the president says he can't go to Barron's graduation. He can't go to the Supreme Court to talk about immunity. He can't go anywhere, apparently. And apparently he's not allowed to talk either. Alvin Bragg apparently filing contempt charges against the former president here just a short time ago today. What a complete mess, Lynn. I mean, honestly,
as somebody who's been with him for over 16 years, I actually cried when we got word about Barron's graduation, because at the end of the day, what we're seeing in this Biden trial is a full frontal assault on American democracy. And, never before, though, has the president's argument that this is election interference at its highest level against the leading presidential candidate, mind you, for the United States, by virtue of the fact that he has to be in court physically from 9:30 to 5, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday for the next 4 to 6 weeks, while his poll plummeting opponent gets to campaign freely across this country without any restrictions. It's just mind-boggling. And when you think of the fact that this was once referred to as the zombie case in the halls of the New York City DA office, because not only did his predecessor, Cy Vance, refuse to prosecute this, but the Southern District of New York did, the FEC did, Bragg initially did. You know why? Because it was colossally weak on the merits. And any legal scholar you talk to will tell you that it still is, because despite the moniker of the mainstream media, this is not a hush money case. This is actually a case about bookkeeping errors. Number one, not only did
we don't even know what it's about, Lynn, because what I can't identify, Lynn, right. I can't find a crime here. That's why Jonathan Turley just sorted it all. He called it a Frankenstein case. You've got misdemeanors that are past the statute of limitations. You got a felony past the statute of limitations. But if you resurrect them somehow and package them together, you'll call it felonies. What, 34 of them, 40, 100 of them? Doesn't even matter. This is the silliest case ever.
It's unprecedented. The president was already president of the United States and living in Washington, D.C. when these entries were made. We stand by the fact that those entries were accurate. Michael Cohen was paid for services rendered for legal work that he did. But at the end of the day, never before in American jurisprudence has a bookkeeping error been charged as a federal felony against a sitting president or any even civilian American voter. And so I think people are starting to wake up and realize, especially when he can't go to his own son's graduation, remains to be seen. But that this is election interference. This is everything that Trump has been screaming from the rooftops since day one. They are manifesting to be.
So where does it go, honestly, Lynn? Because I don't think this case goes anywhere. Let's say, for the sake of argument, the dark blue jury pool in Manhattan only. People thought you could pick from other boroughs. You can't. I mean, if you got a few people from Staten Island, this case goes nowhere. It shouldn't go anywhere anyway. But you've got obviously a jury pool that 50% admit can't be fair to Donald Trump. The other group, I think that you're right, there's probably some liars in there.
Yeah.
But, okay, so let's say he gets convicted. Then it gets appealed. And then it drags out. This case will still be ongoing by the time we get to November 5. No question.
Absolutely. And quite frankly, in my opinion, and I'm certainly no lawyer, by virtue of even having this case and the potential of him being convicted, already abridges upon like the 15th Amendment rights of every American voter in this country. They are being trampled. They are not being able to choose between two fair and balanced candidates and by this conviction alone. When you also consider the fact that, again, our worst nightmare is some sort of Trojan horse juror who lies his way in to sell a book later. But, I think we did the math, and only something like 13 potential jurors out of 100 have a favorable view of Trump. That's what we're up against. And, God bless the people who actually admitted that they were biased in one way, shape, or form or the other. Because I don't think there's a living person on this earth who hasn't formed some sort of opinion about Donald J. Trump.
Of course they have.
You're right.
But here's what they've done, Lynn. Here's what they've done. They've laid the groundwork so that Joe Biden can, stumble out there. I'm not going to debate that guy. He's a convicted felon. That's what they're doing. It's anything to avoid Joe Biden appearing side by side with Donald Trump. That's the bottom line. I'll give you the last word.
That was their goal with impeachment. They knew he would never be removed. They just wanted to be able to say impeached former president. Now they just want to be able to say convicted felon former president. It's all a game of semantics and optics to them. But they're saying the quiet part out loud. They're bragging about how much money is being spent on his legal fees from the campaign, and that was their ultimate goal: is to derail him because they have an abysmal platform of the highest inflation in U.S. history.
They have no platform.
Southern border and high crime. So this is the only way they can take my boss down. But the more they try, the harder he's going to fight.
Lynne Patton, always a pleasure. Thank you for stopping in.
Thanks, Steve. See you next time.
Really appreciate it.